Hey, it's Ben, and this is Drambo by BeepStreet. This video is going to be about polyrhythm delay, which is a rack, an effect rack that you can download from patch storage. There is a link in the description. You might be looking at this already on the patch storage page, but I'm just going to walk through kind of how this works. So essentially, it's 4 delays that act as like really short loopers. So basically the feedback is going to be turned up all the way. So it's acting as a looper. And there's these 4 different delays, and depending on where you have your XY pad set to, it's basically modulating the input volume into each delay. Where if you're in the corner, it's just recording into one delay, and then you can sort of like blend it all the way into the middle. So you can set up these evolving like polyrhythm loops or delays or whatever you want to call them very easily. And there's a mixer too. So like if you don't want to clear everything, but you just want to isolate one of these loops, you can do that. Now if you actually want to clear everything, they're not loopers, so there isn't a clear button or an erase button. You would need to set the feedback back to 0, which you do by hitting the trigger button, and it's just going to stop it. You can't get that back. Obviously, it's just clearing out the buffer for the delay. If we maybe like drop the tempo down a little bit, so like really slow, that's going to give us a little bit more recording time, if you want to think of it that way. And we could maybe increase these delay times as well. So right now it's synced to a quarter of a beat. But you could just do this like off of time, unsynced, if you will. I'll stick with time for now. So this will be like a little bit slower. So we'll go back to recording. First, we'll record into the top right, which is a longer time. Now we'll do top left, shorter time. Again, I have this muted for some reason. If we bring back up bottom left. And then I'm not even using bottom right yet, so let's make this a little bit quicker. It's just really easy to get these cool little rhythms going, melodies that you could either sample or like build a little sequence around. Now, if you want to play over this, there's nowhere in here that is like has turned off the input for all of the delays. So you need to drop the input down all the way. And then at the very end, there's a mixer, and we can turn our audio in up and just play over it. So if you wanted to like mess around and find something that you want to play into the delay, you can do that, or you can just play over this as like a loop and then play a melody over it. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's not that involved. One other kind of cool thing I think you can do is mess with like blending the input. And you can do that like really quickly too. So I'm gonna change my sound a little bit. Put sustain on. Okay, so now if I have recording on, bring the amp up. You get this like weird kind of Sorry about that. But you kind of get that like fading in sound that I like a lot. And then this sounds good with drums too. Let's clear it. Sorry, I didn't mean for it to be so loud. Let's just add like a really quick drum sound. Let's do like a sampler. Like a dub snare. Okay, top left. And then bottom left. And you can hear them both. If we turn it to like just time, make it a little bit shorter. Then it's less like, it's not like a polyrhythm to tempo. It's kind of really just like evolving. And then if you want, of course, you could add effects within the delay. You could have, parts of these like not be delay at all, like just going into an effect and then going out. But this is sort of set up for you to play with like 4 different inputs and blending those inputs. And then of course, if you want to, you can still just use it as a delay. So let's clear it. I'll briefly talk about how this works. And, if you don't want to watch the rest of the video, that's okay. But what this is doing, the XY pad is sending signal to these 4 graphic shapers. So basically, I needed to get the graphic shaper to take negative X, like all the way to the left X and all the way to the right, needed to map that 0 to 1. Because I'm going to be multiplying this, and if I multiply 2 negative 1s, I'll get 1. And that'll still let audio pass. And then, so you have X and Y, and then reverse XY. And then those are going through, this is sort of like an audio input curve. And you can see kind of what's going on. So as we go through the axis, you can see the input line going through, and then it gets mapped through that curve. So for top left delay, it's getting its input from this multiply module. It says top left in, but it's really a multiply module. What's being multiplied is the delay input, and then the top left multiply module. And this top left multiply module is, I don't even know, it's getting its input from the Y shape, and then apparently the reverse X shape. So we can see that when I'm in the top left corner, both Y and reverse X are positive. Now if I'm anywhere else, Y shape is going to be at 0, or reverse X is going to be at 0, or they'll both be at 0. And basically I've done the same thing with all 4 corners. So this is just a way to control the input using, it's a map. It's called the graphic shaper, but you're kind of mapping mathematical values. And it took a little bit of finagling, but you could just take this setup and then do something else with it. You could make like a vector synthesis, like 4 different oscillators, and blend them using the XY pad. I think that's what I actually started doing, and then this was more fun. But anyways, that's, a bad description of the math involved here. but you're multiplying signal by just a value going through the XY pad and then these different shapers. So again, if you're watching this and you're not at Patch Storage, you can go and download it at Patch Storage. If you are at Patch Storage, then you already know where to download it. Anyways, hope that this is fun. If you extend on this at all and you make something cool, you should upload it back to Patch Storage so other people can play with it. Anyways, thanks.